Hello, and welcome to episode 21 of Things I've Learned from Barry Harris. Today I thought we would discuss soloing with Diminished. Now we're going to use two different things. We'll use just the 4-note diminished, and then we'll use what people refer to as the diminished scale. And I'll show you where both of those things come about. But first we'll discuss what song we'll use to solo. I was going to take the first part of a song called What Is This Thing Called Love, or Hot House, and the first chord change is G minor 7 flat 5 to C7 going to F minor. Now that takes, in terms of scales, E flat 7 up and down to the 3rd of C, and then an F minor 6 up and down. Now again, if you're new to this, there's previous episodes that discuss Barry's ideas in terms of his 6 diminished scales. But just for a quick example, his minor 6 scale consists of this: F minor 6, the 4 notes, and then a diminished, the 4 notes of diminished. And you put those two things together and you get an 8-note scale. So that is what we're going towards, the F minor 6. The dominant chord that's going towards that is the C7. So obviously the diminished that goes with the C7 is either, you could say D flat diminished or E diminished. It's the same diminished. And then we have G, and then we have B flat. So here's our 4 notes. So the one thing that we should understand is, where do you get the diminished scale from that? And here's what Barry says. Here's D flat diminished. Now all we're going to do is take these 4 notes and lower 1 note at a time to find out where the 4 dominants are. So here's D flat diminished, lower the D flat to C, now we got C7. Here's D flat diminished again, lower the G to F sharp, and you have F sharp diminished. Here's D flat diminished again, lower the B flat to A, and we have A diminished. D flat diminished again, lower the E to E flat, and there we have E flat 7. So all those are 7s. So we got C7, A7, E flat 7, and F sharp 7. All 4 of these also make up a diminished. Now, if you stack the D flat diminished with those tonics of the 4 dominants, then you get the diminished scale. That's how the diminished scale occurs. That's the point of it. That's the reason for it. And it's much more important for you to understand that than to just think half step, whole step, or whole step, half step, or however they explain it. Barry's really adamant about that. So anyway, that's one thing to understand. So just on G half diminished to C7, you can use that scale all the time. Now, but the thing that I find that he focuses on is just the regular diminished, regular E diminished, the 4, or D flat diminished, the 4-note diminished. So now there's different ways to practice this diminished. It's obviously playing it up and down. You could play it, start on a note, go up a 3rd. Which is also pretty. Barry does it, you can do it in, let's say, flat 5ths. So let's start on this note and then you play this. Sorry about that. So it's really pretty too. You can do it in, let's see, you could do it in 6ths. So, and let's see what the next one is. Let's see. Which is really pretty. Those are pretty too. Another way he plays it is he'll say he likes to do this thing where he says you could put half steps in between. Let's take those 4 diminished notes. He says make chromatic between E and G. So here's our normal 4 notes: E, G, B flat, and D flat. He'll put total chromatic in between E and G. So he'll play this. Now you can do them on any degree. So you could have said, now I'll put it between the G and the B flat. Now I'll put it between the B flat and the D flat. So if you start to think about all the different combinations and where you can put the half steps, it's great. It's super useful. So for instance, if we're playing, what is this thing called Love? And we say, nice little run, or also nice, or, you know, and so that one I went up, the one before I went down. And then there's his thing where he does with triplets, which is starting on a note and putting in total chromatics between this one and this one. So, or you could do all of them, really. Which is nice. And then he sometimes then backtracks and goes from the first one. He does 2 in a row, and then he comes back up, so he'll say, which is nice, makes it a total chromatic scale, but still ending on those diminished notes, which is nice. So let's just try to see if we can figure that out. So that's another nice thing to practice on diminished. He also does this one, which is nice, which is he takes 2 notes, he goes up a minor third, and then, let's see, how would I explain this? We did this one before, which is pretty, but he does, now he plays 2 notes to get back to the next diminished note. So he'll say, then go up another minor third, and then do the same thing here. So let's see. Let me see if I can do that right. It's nice. And you can do it right on the G half diminished. Or let's see, and throw in F sharp 7, which is nice. It's really nice. Just regular diminished is fine too. And again, the actual diminished scale, or what people refer to as the diminished scale, which is really nice. So those are little things that he uses to solo with the diminished, and you can use them anywhere. Anytime you have a dominant, you can use them. Really pretty. But the G half diminished, again, is the E flat 7 scale, down to the third of C, and then F minor 6. Now what's nice about the F minor 6 is you have a lot of time. And some people play there, instead of D minor 7 flat 5, they play regular D minor 7 to G7, going to C major for the next change of the song. But Barry likes to play, he stays with D minor 7 flat 5, which is interesting because then you really are playing G half diminished to C7 to F minor 6, and then staying on F minor 6 this whole time. This is still F minor 6 to G to C. So it allows you to do several different things. You could start to practice some of the things that you should know for your minor 6 diminished scale. So the F minor 6 diminished again is this. Now you need to know it in thirds. You need to know it in triads, which is 3 notes. And then the next one's diminished, and so on. I like doing that one with the middle note repeated, so it would be this, which everybody's heard, like bird, and then they like to play this type of pattern. Nice. There's also, you should know how to play chords, which is 4 notes. So a third is 2 notes, triad's 3 notes. A chord is 4 notes. Also something you should practice. So if we're thinking about soloing, one way we could think about soloing, at least on that part of what is this thing called love, is, let's see, G half diminished. Now that's if you're thinking of G half diminished to C7 and then F minor 6 for that whole time. But like I said, I think Bird just plays regular D minor 7 to G7, which then you would just think, if that's the point, you would just think F minor 6 after that point, but then you would just run G7. Because again, in one of the early episodes I discussed that when Barry sees a regular 2/5, like a D minor 7 to G7, he just thinks G7 scale. So you can think all the things that you can practice on G7, or all the things you can do on G7 to its tritone. And its G7's tritone is a D flat 7. So you can think anything, any half steps that you normally use. And I've seen a few people commenting on the half steps. It's in an early episode, I forget which one, but you should really check that episode out. It's super helpful, and especially going forward with these episodes, it might be really helpful to you. So anyway, those are just a few ideas about using a diminished to solo. And it can be on any song, but we just happen to choose what is this thing called Love or Hot House. So I hope you're enjoying these and enjoy practicing your diminished. Thanks, until next time.